notes while we're going through it. Just participate. Okay. And so today's lesson is 2.4, creating and solving inequalities. The last time you worked with inequalities was probably 7th grade. Okay, they were big in 7th grade, and we didn't touch them in 8th grade. But now they're back again for algebra. And your essential question is, how do you write and solve an inequality? I was supposed to fix that yesterday. An inequality that is not strictly equal. That's my bad grammar. Pardon my bad grammar. All right, so the definition of an inequality is a statement that compares two expressions that are not strictly equal by using one of the following inequality signs. So we have is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to, and is not equal to. And then, you know, one easy way to kind of remember which one's which, you know, is when you're comparing two values. All right, think of it like an alligator mouth. It's always trying to eat the bigger thing, whatever's larger, the bigger piece of pizza or the bigger cupcake, the bigger number. All right, so as you're doing these with variables, if you're not sure if you set it up the right way, you can always substitute out a number in place of the letter and see if it makes sense. Okay, and we'll look at how we do that today. All right, so when you compare solving inequalities with solving equations, which steps are the same and which are different? So if you think about this, and you have learned this before, but it's been a couple years. So in both cases, you first apply the distributive property if it shows up, and then you use inverse operations to isolate your variable. Most operations are the same for solving equations and inequalities. It's mostly exactly the same. There's just one difference. So when you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, -1, -7, if you multiply both sides by a negative or you divide both sides by a negative, you must reverse. You have to flip that inequality sign. You have to flip it. So this first one here, write an inequality that represents the description. Our description is Max has more than 5 carrots. And the number of carrots that we're going to use here is C. Well, if I'm going to use the more than symbol, C and 5, I have to put it in a way that makes sense. C is more than 5. Now, if I don't know if I set that up correctly, what I can do is think about what is a number that would make sense in this situation. Max has more than 5 carrots. So would it make sense that he has 10 carrots? Yes. So if I put a 10 where the C is, 10 is greater than 5, well, that makes sense that the alligator mouth is trying to eat the larger number. If I was to choose the number that didn't make sense, okay, then it shouldn't make sense either. Like 1. 1 is not more than 5. I've put 1 there. That's a false statement. So the way it's set up right now is correct. Okay, you guys are going to type me an inequality. You do have the less than and greater than symbol on your keyboard. Right next to the question mark. It's where the comma is in the period. Okay, so Bridget is shorter than 5 feet, and Bridget's height is h. So you're going to use a 5, you're going to use an h. Shorter than, what symbol do you think shorter than would be? Is it the less than or is it the greater than? I have 6 of 20 responses. Oh, 9 of 20 responses so far. Okay, so let's take a look at what you guys are writing. H minus 5. H is less than 5. H is less than 5. See, does that make sense? H is less than 5. Shorter than, less than. And if I just pick a random number that would make this a true statement, Bridget is shorter than 5 feet. So she could be like 4 feet. That would be true. So if I put a 4 where the H is, 4 is less than 5, that's true. So this is set up correctly. H is less than 5. H is less than 5. Now this one, if you have them in the wrong order, this is not true. Okay. It is possible to write the 5 first, but you would not use the less than symbol. You would have to use the greater than symbol, and I don't see anyone who did that yet. Okay. Okay, now when we're looking at story problems and phrases, sometimes we're going to be using these other two symbols, the greater than or equal to symbol and the less than or equal to symbol. So keywords that mean that, you might actually see greater than or equal to mean greater than or equal to, but also at least or no less than. For the less than or equal to symbol, you might see at most or no more than. Okay, so these are keywords that mean that symbol. We're going to write an inequality that represents the description, and then we're going to solve it. So Dave has $15 to spend on an $8 book and 2 birthday cards, C, for his friends. How much can he spend on each card if he buys the same card for each friend? All right, so 2 birthday cards, and we're trying to figure out how much money he can spend on these cards individually. So the C is our unknown. The C is representing the cost of a birthday card. And we know he's also having to buy an $8 book. So when you're adding up the total of things, that's addition. We're adding some stuff. And the amount of money that he has is $15. He doesn't have to spend exactly $15. Okay, it's his budget. He has to stay within it. So he has to stay under or equal to $15. He could spend $14.75. He could spend $9. He could spend $15, but it has to be less than or equal to 15. So on one side of our inequality, we're going to be adding up his purchases, and then on the other side we have 15. Now, this is the inequality that we get from this situation. 2, because there's 2 cards, 2 times the price of a card, which it's the same card because it says so, it's the same card, adding $8, that's the price of the book. That amount has to be less than or equal to 15. And so we're going to solve this inequality. And the way we solve this is very much like solving an equation. The only thing we have to look out for is when we multiply or divide by a negative. In this situation here, we're not going to have to worry about that. All right, but we're going to first start by looking at our terms. There are 3 terms to this inequality: 2c, 8, and 15. 8 and 15 are like terms. I'm going to combine them. And since my variable is on the left, I'm going to leave my variable there, and I'm going to move my constants to the other side that the variable is not on. So I want to get rid of this 8. I want to make it go away. Since we're adding 8, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 8. And just like with an equation, whatever you do to one side of an inequality, you must do to the other side. All right, so this turns into 2c is less than or equal to $7. 2 and c are being multiplied. I want to undo the multiplication. This is where we're using inverse operations. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Let's divide both sides by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and that leaves c isolated. That's exactly what I want to happen. And now I'm dividing the other side, 7 by 2 as well. 2 is a positive number. I don't have to worry about flipping my sign or changing my sign or reversing it. But 7 divided by 2 is $3.50. So from this, we now know he can spend a maximum of $3.50 on a card if he's buying the same card for both friends. Okay, you guys are going to choose the inequality. It's a multiple choice question. We're going to look at the question, and you're going to pick which inequality goes with the situation. Tony can carry up to 18 pounds in her backpack. Her lunch weighs 1 pound. Her gym clothes weigh 2 pounds. And her books, B, weigh 3 pounds each. How many books can she carry in her backpack? That's what we're solving for. We're trying to find out the number of books she can carry in her backpack. B is our variable, and it represents the number of books. So you're going to choose. You only have 2 options. And if you look at those 2 options, there's only one difference, and it's the symbol. So which one of those is the correct inequality to represent our situation? On one side of your inequality, we have 3b plus 1 plus 2. So the weight of the books plus the weight of the lunch plus the weight of her gym clothes. We're comparing it to the total amount she can carry in her backpack. And the key thing to look at here is in that first sentence, Tony can carry up to 18 pounds. So think about what are numbers that would make sense. Would 15 be an appropriate number? Would 20 be an appropriate number? If she can carry up to 18, think about it that way as you're trying to figure out which of those 2 inequality symbols that we're going to use. Are we going to use less than or equal to? Or we're going to use greater than or equal to. Replace the entire left-hand side with one of the numbers that would make sense in the situation. And then you want it to make sense as like the alligator mouth is eating the larger of the 2 numbers. I have 11 responses. 12 responses. 13 responses. Okay. So if we take a look at our responses, most of you are saying A. So 3b plus 1 plus 2. This is the total weight inside the backpack. And does that total weight need to be less than or equal to 18? Or should the total weight in the backpack be greater than or equal to 18? Tony can carry up to 18 pounds. This means she cannot carry more than 18 pounds. Numbers like 10, 12, 14, these are good numbers. These will work. Anything over 18, she can't do it. We're going to break Tony's back, and we don't want to do that. So the correct answer here is A. The total weight of the backpack, 3b plus 1 plus 2, has to be less than or equal to 18. Okay, so now that we know which inequality we have, we're going to solve that inequality. Now, this is a little bit different than the one we had on the example I showed you. The example I showed you, we had 3 terms. In this inequality, we have 4 terms. So when you solve an equation where there's multiple terms, you combine like terms. You do the same exact thing with inequalities. So what you want to do is look for a pair of like terms that are on the same side together. 1 and 2. Those are like terms. They're next to each other. Same side, same operation. You're going to add them. 1 plus 2. That's going to change your inequality to 3b plus 3 is less than or equal to 18. And now it's similar to what we were starting with on my example with you. Combine your like terms. 3 and 18. Opposite sides of the inequality sign. Means that you use opposite operations. You're going to subtract 3 from both sides. 3b is less than or equal to. What's 18 minus 3? That's what you're figuring out. I have 5 responses. 3b is less than or equal to 15. Then what do? 3b is less than or equal to 15. 3 times b, you want to get 3 by itself. Inverse operation. Instead of multiplying by 3, we're going to divide by 3. Divide both sides of your inequality by 3. Of the 6 of you that are participating, thank you. B is less than or equal to 5. That's correct. Okay, I'm going to show the steps. So right here, this is what I was saying verbally with you guys. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then we're going to combine the 3 and the 18 by using subtraction. So if I subtract 3 from 18, I get 15. 3b is less than or equal to 15. Divide both sides by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. All right. That is the end of this set of notes. Next thing we're going to do is go into Delta Math. Okay, so go ahead and go to your week at a glance and find today's link to take you to Delta Math. Okay, so our assignment for today in Delta Math is linear inequalities. Hyperlink that'll take you over to the description in Google Classroom. The way Delta Math works is you can get 100%. You just have to keep trying until you get the score that means 100%. So for this assignment, it's out of 5. So you keep doing problems so you have a score of 5. You can miss a whole bunch in a row and then start getting them right and still get 100%. You could do the first 5 and get them all right and get 100%. But I like Delta Math because if you get the problem right or if you get the problem wrong, it's going to show you how to do it after every problem. So we're going here, and most of you should already have your account. There might be a couple of you who do not. Okay, so if you've already created your account, you're going to sign in with your email and your password and log in. If you don't have one yet, that's because you need to create one as a student, and then you got to put in my teacher code. I will go find my teacher code and put it into our Google Meet chat just in case there's somebody who hasn't done that yet. Hopefully not too many of you because you have assignments in here that are adding up. So here's my teacher code. Okay. And so So I did assign you 2 levels of inequalities for your Aries grade. I'm only going to take your level 1 score. So after you pass level 1, you should try level 2, but it is more difficult. Unless I'm thinking of literal equations. I might be thinking of literal equations. I might have just said the wrong thing. Yeah. I think there's just 1 level here. Let me go see what I assigned, because now I'm confusing myself. I'll give you guys time to get into Delta Math. So if I view our assignments, linear inequalities. Yeah, just 1 level. That's all I assigned you. I'm just talking about literal equations. Sorry. So for literal equations, which was an assignment we had last week, that one I assigned you level 1 and level 2. A lot of you struggled really hard with level 2. So for that one, I'm only taking your level 1 score to count towards your grade in Aries for literal equations. But today's, there's just the 1 level. So you're going to be doing that. And then Callie had a question about hers. Yeah, you have 100% on everything, Callie. Nice work. So, Callie, did you finish the Otis practice test from yesterday? Okay, so you go work on that instead, Callie. But for you guys, I do want to show you what some of these problems look like. Okay, and so right now I'm presenting a delta math equation, might be similar to one you get. Okay, and you know, if you get one you just hate, I think you go to a new problem. I don't know if you're allowed to do that without a penalty, but I'm allowed to. So 3n minus 5 is less than or equal to 4n plus 3. So most of these are going to have variables on both sides. Which one are we doing? So I want you guys to go into, it's called linear inequalities. That's the one we're working on today. And I'm going to work out one of these problems with you step by step. Maybe I'll try to use my whiteboard because I was using paper yesterday, but I felt like maybe the whiteboard might be easier. I'll just have to present my whole screen. So let's go ahead and I'm going to move this here. And then I'll move this one here. Yes, so I'm trying to like navigate my 2 screens so I can show you guys an example. So let me do this. So there's my presentation screen. And I am going to do a screenshot of this problem, and I'm going to show you how to do this. And then we'll come back and put the answer in. Okay. So real quick. My whiteboard app. I need to present this to you. Present, stop presenting. Present, entire screen. This one. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste this little problem we have here. And this is the one they gave us. And I can use all my fun colors and work it out for you step by step. Okay. So when you come across an equation where the variable happens to be on the left and the right, you know, you can try to start using something like box and wall. Okay, where like you put a box around your variables and a wall coming down. That also works with inequalities. But we got to get all our variables together. Okay, and so I do have two terms that have variables. I also have two terms that are constants. And I got to get the constants together, I got to get the variables together, and I need to put them each on one side of the inequality. And it doesn't really matter which way I move them. Sometimes it's easier to avoid having to work with negatives. Okay, so when you're moving stuff to the other side of the inequality symbol, you're doing inverse operations. So maybe I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And that would mean I would subtract 4n from both sides. So I'm always doing the same exact thing to both sides. So that would make this cancel and this cancel. And then what I'm left with, 3n minus 4n is negative 1n is less than or equal to. Let's bring the symbol straight down. And 3 plus 5 is 8. Well, I'm almost done here. I've almost isolated my variable n, but I gotta get rid of this negative 1. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. I'm going to divide by negative 1, which then means n, negative 8. So I'm dividing by a negative. So this is where you got to flip your sign. I got to reverse it. So instead of less than or equal to, it becomes greater than or equal to. So I know that the answer is n is greater than or equal to negative 8. So that's what I'm going to have to go back to Delta Math and type in. So let me find where that is. N is greater than or equal to negative 8. Let me minimize that. Oh, here we go. So back here, n, you have a drop down. We said greater than or equal to negative 8. And then I can submit it. It's going to ask me if I'm sure. If I get a green check, it means I did it correctly. If I get a red X, it means I did it incorrectly. But either way, it's going to show me all the steps. So the way they solved this one was subtracting 4n from both sides. That's exactly what I did. And then they added 5 to both sides. That's exactly what I did. They got negative n is less than or equal to 8. It says switch inequality when dividing by a negative. And then we got n is greater than or equal to negative 8. Okay? So let's do another one of these together because we have time, I think. We go till 12:30. Yeah, it's 12:23. So let's do another one together. So let's look at a new problem. All right. If you think you understand this and this is like no problem, you can just go into Delta Math and do this. If you want to see more examples worked out, then stay on the tab for the Google Meet and I'm going to work out another one. All right. So now we're looking at inequality for W. 8q minus 5 is less than or equal to 9q minus 3. All right, so that's what I'm going to be solving. I'm going to do a screenshot of this so I can put it on my whiteboard. Right here. I don't know why it's not popping up. Whiteboard, go away. Oh, I know why. There it is. Okay, so let's move that. And let's paste our problem. Nope, that's the same one. So I didn't copy it. Let's try again. I don't know why it's not letting me copy it. It's weird. I don't know why it doesn't like me to do that. That's so weird. I'm just going to type it. Okay, that's fine. So it's 8q minus 5. That's right. 8q minus 5. And then that's less than or equal to 9q. I think it was minus 3. Yeah. Right. Copy and pasting was not my friend right now for some reason, and I don't know why. So whatever. It's fine. So I'm looking for my variables. Here's one. Here's another one. I gotta get those guys together. So 8q, 9q. I can either subtract 8q from both sides, or I could subtract 9q from both sides. Maybe I want to subtract 8q from both sides because I know that 9 minus 8 is 1 and it's not negative, so I don't have to deal with a negative. Leaves me with negative 5. Notice that minus sign is still here. Less than or equal to 9q minus 8q is 1q. I could write the 1 or I could leave it off. It doesn't matter. Minus 3. And then we're going to combine some like terms. So my like terms now are this negative 5 and this negative 3. Since the q is on the right, we got to get those guys together. So I'm going to move them over to the left. So I'm going to do the inverse operation, which is to add 3 and add 3. That becomes 0. So negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2 is less than or equal to 1q. Okay, well, I'm done. But when I got to type my answer in, notice that q is first. I can't put the negative 2 first. So what am I going to do? I got to rewrite this. So you can read an inequality from left to right, or you can read it from right to left, but you have to read it like the symbol backwards. So this is the same thing as q, or 1q, is greater than or equal to negative 2. Okay, so if I read it from left to right, negative 2 is less than or equal to q. If I read it from right to left, q is greater than or equal to negative 2. It's like I'm reading backwards. Okay, another way to think of it is you are going to, do inverse operations and move stuff around. So, I mean, there's different ways to do it, but we're going to go with q is greater than or equal to negative 2. So this is what I'm going to add to my okay. And there's the steps. So they did theirs a little bit differently. They are showing the steps for subtracting 9q from both sides, which gives you negative q. Minus 5 is less than or equal to negative 3. They added 5 to both sides. So they ended up with negative q is less than or equal to 2. And then they divided both sides by negative 1. And then they got q is greater than or equal to negative 2. So in math, there's always a lot of ways to get from point A to point B. All right, and there's not necessarily one correct way. But that is the end of our meeting. Okay. And I remember in the chat, somebody asked me about something, and I don't remember what it was. Jennifer, it's not letting me in. Did you create an account, Jennifer, and then use the teacher code? You guys are free to leave the meet. And if you have questions about anything, just stay on the meet, and I'll help you with whatever it is you have a question with. Hugo, I already did it. So was that you were the one that asked me about something, right, earlier? I don't even, no, it was Mauricio. Had some trouble with answering yesterday's question about the slope on the graph. Mauricio, do you want to look at that? think Mauricio left. Yeah, Mauricio left. Okay, so anybody else, you have questions? It says, I just turned in the practice quiz. Oh, okay. So in Otis, I have to go into Otis, but I could do that. Yes, it just gave me an alert. Callie submitted an assessment. You're good. You too, Callie. What about our statistics performance task? Do any of you guys have any questions about that? Delta Math, Otis, HMH. Where your grade is, why your grade is, what it is. Callie, you're still on here. I do want you to resubmit your performance task. Did you get a better grade on it? Kron's on here twice.
Miss Dylan.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Do I have any missing assignments for your class, and what's my grade for your class?
So I haven't gone to see if you did Delta Math, the one that we just did today, so that was just today, or the Otis practice test. I haven't gone in to put in those scores yet. But I just had a 5. That's weird. Huh. Okay. You have a 97.7%, Maddie. That's an A+.
Oh, it's because my mom's always asking me. That's why.
Yeah, your grade's great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else questions? Can I do something to get a higher grade? Sure can. Let's go look at your grades. Hugo, your statistics performance task has a 50% score right now. So what you need to do is go back to that assignment and read whatever comments I left for you and fix it and turn it back in. Sweet. I said yes. My youngest does not want to do homework ever. That's her complaining. She's in 1st grade. Homework's so hard. 1st grade. I think this updates the people very well. So we're down to Sean and Karan. All right, you guys have questions? Sean, you got 4 missing assignments. Get them done. And Karan, you have 2 missing assignments. Delta Math.
Yeah. Wait, what?
So Karan is saying you have 2 missing assignments right now.
Yeah.
In Delta Math.
So what? I don't know how to do them.
Okay. I can help you out. So if you, I'm going to start another Go Guardian thing. So go to whatever assignment you want help with.
Okay, I have 2.
Thought you did HH.
Huh?
You have a 70% on your last HMH. That's pretty good. The ones that you're missing are in Delta Math. Delta Math is where we were today.
This one?
Yeah, that's it. Delta Math. I'll take you to the site.
Jack.
All right, so where do I go?
Okay, so you're missing number 14, literal equations. You only have to complete level 1. Level 2 is like enrichment. And then you're missing number 13, words to expressions. And the one from today, number 16, linear inequalities. So you have to do all 3 of them. I can help you with any of them.
Okay, so how do I oh. Okay, so
Okay, so literal equations. You're given an equation that has more than one variable, and you're rearranging the way it looks so it's solved for whatever variable they tell you to solve it for. In this case, says solve it for A. Take into account whether a letter is capitalized or not. So if you change the case from lowercase to uppercase or uppercase to lowercase, it's going to mark it wrong. But we have A equals. So if I wanted to isolate A, right now A has F being added to it, right?
yeah.
So to get rid of that, I subtract F, and I do the same things to both sides to keep it in balance. So you'd have A by itself on one side, and you'd have M minus F on the other.
So
you would type M minus F.
like this?
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Okay. Next one.
Does that make sense though? Like what you did?
Yeah, oops. Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So this one, what about this one?
Okay. So it's saying to solve the equation for capital A. And you're given N equals capital A minus B. So, you can even think box and wall, like you would put a box around the thing you want to isolate, which is capital A, and then you have to get rid of minus B. So what should you do to both sides of this equation?
Add them.
What would you add?
B.
Yes, you would add B to both sides. So that isolates A, and then on the other side of your equation, you just have N plus B.
So the answer is N plus B?
Mm-hmm. Now don't go uppercase because it's going to mark it wrong. You got to keep it consistent with whatever they give you.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay. No, this one's confusing.
So just remember back to what we know about if you have a B and an F next to each other like that, there's an operation happening between them, even though it's invisible.
So this one is this one subtraction?
No. B and F touching each other like they are in that equation means they're being multiplied.
Oh, okay.
So you have to do the opposite of multiplying.
Division.
Yes, division.
Okay. So is it B and F divided by M?
So you have to remember what letter do they want by itself?
B.
B. So I have to get rid of the F.
Okay. So it's F divided by M.
They're really close. Just reverse it. Because if you divide by F on one side, then you're going to divide by F on the other side.
So is it M divided by F?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's. Wait, is the division sign this? Oh, never mind.
The slash, that'll work. That'll work, yeah. It'll turn it into a fraction on here. That's perfect.
This
Uh-huh.
is divided by F. So like
Good.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Good remembering of which case to use.
All right, next.
Okay. So now, do you see up at the top where it shows your score is 3?
Yeah.
That's the only thing you need to pay attention to. And then each assignment might have a different score you're trying to get to. This one you have to get to 5. And if you forgot that you had to get to 5, you can look at the record. It's the denominator on the record.
Oh yeah, shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 3 out of 5.
Mm-hmm. And so your score won't go down from that in Delta, but like it'll save it as your highest score. But you're trying to get to full credit, so you want to try to get a score of 5. Keep doing it until you get that.
Is this one H divided by M?
Not exactly, because remember, if the order when you divide is really important. So since capital D is being multiplied by H, we divide by H. That's what you're doing to both sides, dividing by H.
So M divided by H.
Uh-huh. All right. You think you got it?
This one. Okay, this one's kind of confusing
Okay.
because it's already division. So is this
Yeah.
one multiplication now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's confusing.
But you're right. You are going to use multiplication. If F is being divided by G, and you want to undo it, you multiply by G on both sides.
So G multiply H.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I forgot the multiplication sign.
So multiplication is the one operation when when you use a variable and another variable, or a variable and a coefficient, you don't have to write it. You just put the letters next to each other, and it is implied that you are multiplying.
Like this.
Yep. Okay. So,
I finished that one.
yes, yeah, it says 5 out of 5. Oh, I thought your percentage would say 100. Okay, so I've been telling kids wrong. Where the line is, where it says 5 out of 5, that is you have full credit.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna have to go, Karan. Okay, but just keep working on this stuff, okay?
All right.
Okay. Bye.